Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, mammoths and saber-tooth sloths of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co-host.
You know, John, I've been thinking.
What? When did you start doing that?
Last week.
Oh, and you didn't say anything? Why'd you do it, Jay? Why? We're supposed to be co-hosts. Duh. I'm the brains of this operation.
Indeed. You're giving it a little bit of the Crash and Eddie spin there.
Oh, spin what? Who's spinning? Am I spinning? Anyway, this is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. And this week we're going to talk about the Ice Age spin-off, the special on Disney Plus, The Adventures of Crash and Eddie. I mean, Buck Wild.
Yeah, they knew
Yeah.
if they didn't have Buck Wild in the title, people wouldn't click on it.
True. Yes. Very true.
But yeah, this was released January 28th, 2022 on Disney Plus. This is the first Ice Age movie not to be produced by Blue Sky.
Yeah.
This is post Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox, which included at that point Blue Sky. They let Blue Sky do some stuff for a few years. They released Spies in Disguise and produced the short series Scrat Tales. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
I just watched it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they were not brought in for this movie, and they were actually closed down in 2021.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So this
that
was
closing
outsourced.
came with a short from Scrat eating his acorn. So
Yes.
sad times.
Yeah, it is. I think so much of the problems with this movie can be boiled down to it starts with the Disney logo.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of all you need to know for why this doesn't quite work. Not that, like, I don't think if Blue Sky had made this movie, it would have been significantly better. But there are little quality things here that, since Disney outsourced the animation, I think there's... And didn't spend all that much money on this either, it doesn't seem. But yeah, anyway, this was directed by John C. Dongan, who is a producer on most of Blue Sky's previous features. So, someone who has been involved in the Ice Age franchise for a bit. Written by Jim Hecht, who we talked about before, and then two new writers, Ray De Laurentiis and William Schifrin. De Laurentiis and Schifrin both wrote episodes for the Fairly Odd Parents and also the recent animated Night at the Museum movie. I believe that's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And yeah, we have music by Batu Sinir, who is a composer, did the score for Better Man, the recent Monkey Planet of the Apes looking biopic, and then Harold and the Purple Crayon.
All right.
Of course, we talked about before.
Let's talk about the story. So this movie actually does not feature Scrat, and thus there is nothing worth talking about in this plot summary. But something that does feature Scrat is Scrat Tales, where Scrat throws down with a child and has wild adventures. There's a lo-fi episode.
Yeah. We'll talk about it at the end of the episode here, just because I just watched it, so I do feel like there is something to talk about. I felt like it would be cheating to put that as the plot summary, because it's not the same thing. I did write a plot summary and then delete it right as you were about to read it.
Yes,
I was hoping for a bigger reaction from you, but from the switcheroo.
Yeah, well,
you're too much of a professional. You're unflappable.
I mean, right? Yeah, you know, I trusted that you were gonna do something anyway, but like, if this is just like a Crash and Eddie movie where they're trying to learn to be independent, I guess. And
Yeah.
Buck Wild's there.
Yeah, they go back to Hollow Earth which they don't call it Hollow Earth, but it's just Hollow Earth.
Yeah. And then we have a talking dinosaur villain who is a big brain.
Yeah.
And misadventures happen.
Yeah. I guess we should start out with this is not a Buck Wild movie.
No, it's not.
And it's instead like a Crash and Eddie movie. Why do we need a Crash and Eddie movie? They're probably the least interesting of the main Ice Age cast
Mm-hmm.
to give a movie to. Like in terms of who I want to see a movie about, they are at the very bottom, and then like Sid is slightly above them, and then everyone else is like significantly above that. I
Yeah.
guess Peaches, I wouldn't be too into a Peaches movie, but I wouldn't dislike that.
Yeah.
And then Diego or
Technically,
Ellie or Manny,
technically, the last couple films were semi-Peach movies, but
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
No, Crash and Eddie, there's nothing interesting, and it
no.
just makes for like, such a generic kids movie, even more so than Collision Course.
Yeah. I mean, at least, I mean, I say at least like them finally getting arcs of some type, but like you don't really
They
care
don't
about them.
they don't really get arcs though. They I guess they kind of do. We'll talk about that when we get to characters.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like this generic adventure, generic villain. There's like this weird superhero stuff that they're trying to do,
Yeah.
which like if this was 2012, sure, but it's not 2012. I know people still like superheroes, but yeah, it's very transparent that they're trying to make this appealing but not fully understanding
Yeah.
what could make this appealing to kids.
This film is also pretty forgettable overall.
Yeah.
Like it's the one entry out of all of these that I don't remember the most. I remember the others pretty well. This one not so much.
Yeah,
So
it's there's not a lot going for it in that sense. And the writing
no,
is just bad all around. Like
yeah.
the jokes don't land. There I was noticing when Crash and Eddie first go into Hollow Earth and they're like running away from stuff. They're always talking. And there are moments where things would have played out a lot better if they had stopped talking and just let something like not even story wise, like just the animation is communicating all of the information we need to know. They don't
Hmm.
need to be narrating it for us.
No.
It's that thing. Have I guess you haven't or yeah, some of the Ghibli movies, especially like the earlier Disney dubs of them, got flack for adding dialogue in scenes where there was no dialogue or adding talking. And it kind of the sense of like, oh, well, they can do that in Japan, but we can't do that in the US. We have to always have someone needs to be talking
Hmm.
and explaining things. It's like, no, you don't need that. You can just let the moment breathe. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
It's, I yeah, I am assuming because you saw this a while back.
I saw this a while back. I mean, in January,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
say. So it is like the last thing I've seen from Ice Age, essentially, and it's the one that I remember the least about.
yeah.
I just remember the details of like it's Crash and Eddie. There's the weird plot with the dinosaur. Buck Wild's here. There's some of a love interest going on. That's about it.
I mean, that's essentially all there is to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's it is what you kind of think of for Ice Age, which is already a franchise that I'm not like a huge fan of.
Hmm.
Doing a low budget straight to Disney Plus thing.
Yeah, it's it's very honestly it's pretty similar to a lot of like DreamWorks stuff where it's like they have this big popular film, and then they get like a TV series or something. And it's
Yeah.
just so the quality is visually not the same. Most recent example, of course, is the Megamind sequel film plus TV show that came out like 10 years after the film came out, and it's like not even worth it. Um,
I hate to inform you, it has been many more than 10 years
I
since
know,
Megamind came out.
I know. 14. Yeah, just saying,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
No, that is 100% what this is. This is lower budget, lower effort, a way to re-up the brand without actually putting much effort into it. And maybe they're kind of testing the waters for a movie,
Hmm.
but you have the Scrat Tales short coming out this same year that
Yeah,
has significantly better animation and actually
with,
like
yeah,
works as a thing.
yeah.
You don't need this Buck Wild movie to test the waters to see if Ice Age is still popular.
I think they just felt it's like, everybody loves Buck Wild. Let's make something with him. And
Yeah.
then they're like, oh, hey, we haven't done anything with Crash and Eddie. Let's do something with them. Uh, yeah. So I remember seeing the trailer when it came out, and then I assume after watching the trailer, I guess I tricked my brain into thinking that I had watched the film. um, so it's like, I must have watched the film, and then I started watching it again for this, and I'm like, wait a minute, I never actually watched this. I just thought I did. That's how much the trailer was a thing. Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Here I'm on the Wikipedia page for this, and I think this explains so much of what this movie is. It was originally announced in 2018 as a television series centered
Mm.
around Buck. And then after the acquisition, it was redeveloped into a movie. So
Okay.
I'm kind of imagining, because this would be around the same time that they're starting to work on the Scrat Tales thing. I wonder if it's Collision Course was not a success, but Ice Age is kind of the biggest brand that Blue Sky has. Because like Rio movies, no one really remembers those. Um, I guess they do have like Peanuts, but they didn't seem to be moving much on that property. And like 20th
Right.
Century Fox in general didn't have a whole lot of big franchises they could lean on. So it makes sense that they're like, hey, there's the streaming era, all of these like side projects that are being greenlit by other studios, and like Star Wars and Marvel and all of these other companies are doing their TV shows. Why don't we try something? So they do the Scrat Tales one. I was like, oh, we can do little shorts. We've already done shorts with this character. Just
Mm-hmm.
do that. And then also, hey, here's this popular side character. We could do an entire TV show with him that like doesn't necessarily tie back directly to the movies, but maybe we get some of that audience there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then over time it gets redeveloped into, hey, what if we did a movie and put
Sure.
it out on Disney Plus and
And it's about
outsource the
Crash and Eddie.
animation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Downstairs the animation. We're only gonna bring back Simon Pegg. Uh,
I would guess they would have brought back other actors if the other actors had wanted to come back for this.
mm, maybe. Yeah. It could
Just,
also
just
just
'cause-
be a money thing as well.
well, none of the other besides Crash and Eddie, none of the other characters have that much here.
True. Yeah. I mean, the actors all came back for like the 30-minute specials for like Christmas and Easter, so it's not.
I wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised if originally when this was being developed it was just Buck.
Hmm.
with maybe cameos from other characters.
So
And then when it was redeveloped as like, hey, it's going to be a Disney Plus movie, like
it
John
being a TV
Leguizamo isn't
show
gonna. Yeah,
makes more sense because there it would be like, yeah, Simon Pegg's probably the only person you could afford for a TV show.
yeah,
Because Simon Pegg does do a lot of TV shows, so there's that. Uh, yeah.
yeah. Maybe it was them not deciding to bring people back. Maybe it was the people saying, hey, this is a Disney Plus thing. Let's not worry about coming back for that. Yeah, it's
We don't
just a
know.
big miscalculation all
Yeah.
around. I I'm trying to think back on the plot and see if I can recognize any of the TV show elements from this, but I really can't.
No.
Like, I will give them this. It does not feel like a TV show that has been turned into a movie. Maybe because it wasn't actually in production when they made the switch over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not like a Moana 2 situation where it's obvious that they just recut what they had into a movie, or Cinderella 2 or whatever other Disney sequels.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Disney straight to DVD sequels. Half of them are TV show that never got made. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the first 3 episodes of a TV show that never was going to work out.
Tarzan and Jane. Yeah.
Okay, so here's something interesting. I'm looking at the animation was outsourced to Bardell Entertainment.
Hmm.
Among the things they have done, Monsters vs. Aliens, the DreamWorks animated TV show, not the
Mm.
movie.
Right.
Oh, Veggie Tales in the House. That's another that's under DreamWorks. The Adventures of Puss in Boots, DreamWorks. They do a lot of TV, like they've done stuff for um oh, I guess they did one scene for The Simpsons.
That makes sense.
Dino Trucks, apparently that's a DreamWorks thing. Dawn of the Croods. So yeah, you making that connection to DreamWorks, that is literally what they do. Kung
Hmm.
Fu Panda, The Paws of Destiny. Did they do the Mega Mind one? I'm not seeing it on their thing here. Oh, that's because I'm not looking at films. Okay, I'm not seeing that they did the Mega Mind thing, but that is the type of thing that they do.
Mm-hmm.
And not everything they have here is necessarily bad, but oh yeah, they did animation for like Space Jam.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, what one of those companies that's doing a lot of like lesser important projects for the bigger companies.
Yeah. And essentially, it all pales in comparison to the big film, which,
Yeah.
you know, can be a hurdle to get through because oftentimes, it's like, oh, the animation's not the same, and they typically are not bringing back the same cast because of how expensive that would be. So it's going to be very jarring and different. I could think of one important example, which we'll probably talk about in a few years later on, but yeah.
Yeah. uh, yeah, we can talk more about that in the visuals. But yeah, character, or I guess we need to give our scores for the plot.
Yeah,
Story. I gave the story a 1 out of 5.
I also gave it a 1 out of 5. There you go.
Yep.
Characters. Crash and Eddie.
Yeah. They are so much more annoying here than even in the last movie.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing to balance them out. You aren't even cutting away to Scrat. Scrat doesn't show up here. It's just the entire movie you are with Crash and Eddie.
Yeah. Crash and Eddie, they're doing stuff, kind of moving the plot along by helping the villains, I guess.
Yeah. They it's also like weird to me that it makes more sense in the main series movies, but even in their own movie, they are entirely interchangeable.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I mean, maybe I just can't tell them apart, but it's not like we're supposed to tell them apart. And they don't have different personalities. That seems like, I guess that could go either way, but that seems like an easy thing to, how do you make this more interesting? You give each of them a slightly different personality and have their dynamic
Hmm.
play a little differently, since they're in so much of this.
Yeah, but I could never tell them apart.
No.
They're just one entity essentially.
Yeah. They also just have like a very generic arc.
Mm.
They want independence, but they don't actually like do anything for it. This is what I was saying when I said they don't really have an arc, because they don't really learn anything.
No.
They just kind of luck their way through an adventure and then
Hmm.
are like, okay, we still want to be on our own, even though that is abundantly clear. Also, they don't even want to be on their own. They want to be with Buck.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
they aren't actually after independence, and there's never any acknowledgement of that. That's just the way it is. Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, Buck.
Anyway, Buck.
Why do they
Buck.
keep bringing him back? He gets less interesting each time they do it, especially since the writing quality is going down.
I just wish that he didn't have to be here to pick up the slack for Crash and Eddie at times.
Yeah.
That he's really he's trying to fix a lot of their problems in a lot of scenes. But yeah, Buck.
There's something that, because when they introduced Buck, the thing that made him interesting is that he presents himself as the super competent hero, like classic
Mm-hmm.
adventure hero character.
Right.
But he isn't. He's constantly messing up. He just knows how to deal with things when he has messed up. Which actually would make a good arc for Crash and Eddie, learning how to do that. But no, by this point he's just like generically good at everything. He has become the thing that he was a subversion of the first time he showed up. Which, yeah, that's a little bit disappointing. I do like his little bachelor pad. I think it's a neat thing. And I like that they brought back Bronwyn. I don't know how that pumpkin is still in a intact state,
I
but
mean,
it's a good joke. I wish they had come up with something new, some new things for him to do, because they're basically just calling back to bits from the previous movies.
yeah. I mean, the new thing is by giving him a backstory where he was part of a gang of heroes and such.
That when they showed up and it's like, they're the Avengers. I mean, they don't say that, but that's what they're implying. It's like,
Hmm.
no, that's not that's not who. Okay, let's get into this. So, Hollow Earth, when it's introduced in Dawn of the Dinosaurs, it's like this lost land of nonsense, or like, I guess not non-sentient dinosaurs, but the dinosaurs don't have the same sentience as the mammal characters.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
just like this dangerous place. No one can live there unless they're a dinosaur or they're buck wild.
Hmm.
And the whole ending of Dawn of the Dinosaurs, what I like about Buck's arc in that one is him deciding to stay in this, like, this wilderness, and he has this, like, this unfinished quest, and the implication is that this quest is going to give him purpose forever. Like, he will never fully finish this, he will never defeat the beast, and yet it gives him a reason. So then to show up in this movie and be like, "Oh yeah, Hollow Earth, there's just a whole bunch of other talking animals that live down here." And like
Yeah,
Buck is part of this resistance movement that's fighting against speciesism between dinosaurs and mammals. What? You
yeah,
had this like beautiful little conclusion to his character there of like no matter what he does, he will always be in Hollow Earth because that's where he belongs, even though that is not like a safe or good place to live.
hmm
And it's just like in this one, it's like, oh yeah, it's just another place, just like the surface, except there are dinosaurs.
yeah. As soon as you have other animals doing the same thing that he does, he becomes less interesting.
Yeah. I think they could get away with it if it was just Z and him, and
Hmm.
Z had shown up later. But having this like whole society down there, it just messes with his characterization. Because now he is not alone by circumstance because he fell down into this world and has had to learn to live in it. He's now alone because he doesn't like hanging out with the other animals that live down there for some reason. But that's never like a thing they even point out. That's just a thing that is kind of implied by the fact that he lives on his own. Yeah, it's just a miscalculation. And it's all in service of like a kind of boring villain motivation.
Hmm.
And also like so that Buck can be part of the Avengers. But like why does Buck need to be part of the Avengers? Why can't he be Robinson Crusoe or whoever? I haven't read that book, so I don't know much about it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have much to say.
Z, I like
See,
the idea of her character.
yeah.
Just like a badass woman who like is very competent and is surrounded by people who are kind of incompetent and goes along with the insanity of the people around her but still gets things done. Like her
Hmm.
dynamic with Buck where Buck starts talking to his hand and then she starts acknowledging his hand as like a separate entity. Like that's just fun. That she knows him well enough to know all of his various different crazy things
Hmm.
and kind of participate in them and understand him as like no, you need to engage with him on his level even though it's crazy. It's a complete difference between how every other character treats him where she's just never thrown off by anything he
Right.
says.
Yeah.
I don't like the hints of romance, but it's not like the end of the world, I guess.
No, it's just like every. It's a lot of like those type of relationships always have to have some sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
Uh, it is, kind of like an interspecies thing. Buck is a
Yeah.
weasel, and Z is she's pretty much a skunk, essentially.
Uh-huh.
So they're not quite compatible, I don't think. So
uh, I also
it's,
just dislike
uh,
her arc.
yeah,
Like
I don't,
there's this dynamic between them where they don't get along because Buck likes to wing things and she likes to plan things out. And the conclusion of that arc is Z being like, "Oh, actually maybe it's good to wing things and not plan things out." But at no point when Buck is winging things earlier in the movie is he in the right. Like that's what gets them in trouble multiple times. It's just that in the end of the movie, suddenly winging things is the thing that she needed to do. Buck is the one who needed to learn the lesson, not her.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to say about her, though. But we do have Orson, the villain. He's here.
Orson, he's a talking dinosaur.
He's a talking dinosaur, which we established in the last movie. No, don't do that. Also, his like evil plan, they have to change how Hollow Earth works in order for his evil plan to be a thing.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm gonna take over and get rid of all the mammals.
Mm-hmm.
It's I know what they're going for in terms of a message with this character. It just doesn't like fit with the world that they've established. Like if it's on the surface and they're encountering a character who has speciesist feelings, then you could maybe work it out. When it's in Hollow Earth, that's not like what Hollow Earth is interesting for being.
No. I
I
don't
also just
really
never bought that he was like
care
a mastermind.
for Orson, yeah.
Like he never does anything intelligent. And yeah, Manny, Sid, and Diego are all here, and Ellie.
Yeah, they're here to open and close the film to remind you that Ice Age has other characters, you know?
Manny and Ellie fight, which feels very odd.
Mm. Do you know what's also a little odd? This is the first time they've ever fully addressed Manny's backstory since the first
Okay,
film.
since the
Like
first movie.
verbally. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Ellie's like talking about the previous films, like, hey, this is
Oh yeah.
Manny's backstory. And I was like, oh, okay. That's it. This is like a weird place to do that thing here, but okay.
uh, also, what happened to Shakira,
I don't know.
Diego's
Uh,
partner?
I don't
She
know.
just disappeared.
I think there is a little confusion about when this film, the quote unquote film, takes place.
Well,
Some
it takes
say,
place after Collision Course because Bronwyn is there.
yeah, so yeah, but I've heard people say it's like a prequel to Collision Course, but that doesn't make sense to me.
No,
Bronwyn is there, so it can't
Bronwyn
be.
is there. Bronwyn is there and Shakira is not, so therefore it must be that Diego and Shakira finally realized that they weren't actually in love.
Yeah. Shakira, not the other one. Sid's
Oh,
daughter.
I wasn't even thinking of what's her face? Brianna?
Brooke. Yeah.
Brooke. That's Brianna and Shakira.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Shakira. Yeah.
I couldn't remember her name. You had referred to her as Shakira in the last episode, so that's what I was going with.
Yeah, I did. Nice continuation of the bit.
I wasn't even thinking about Brooke, maybe because I was asleep for most of her screen time in the last movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what happened to Brooke?
They're having a girls' night somewhere else. I don't know.
They didn't have the budget to update their character models, so they
Update?
decided to
What
because
update?
or downgrade. I don't know, redo. We'll get to the. I think the
Mm.
character models themselves have had some work done.
Yeah, it's essentially they had to build new models so that it could be like a lower render thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, if you have to use film grade models for like a TV show, it's not going to work out the best.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, I give the characters a. I'm gonna bump that down to a 1.5 out of
yeah,
5. I like some of the characters in theory. In practice, no.
yeah. I don't remember really a whole lot, so I just gave it a 1. Visuals.
Yeah. So it does start out with the cave painting stuff, which I like the style of that. I just don't like that it's a summary of the previous movies.
But then, like, once Ellie's trunk gets onto the frame with the cave paintings, it just looks so off. It doesn't look right at all. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It feels like a poorly rendered green screen of her hoof over the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
no
It's
visual
weird because
downgrade. It's so weird. Yeah.
yeah, the fur is like very detailed, but everything else looks significantly worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like horrible texture. The ground textures and background textures look so bad. And like when they're sleeping for the night and in the background you see just like these little patches of grass, and it's the kind of like grass that you would expect from like the little like where it's just like a like tiny individual blades that aren't even like they're just kind of stuck in the ground, like stuff that in the first Ice Age movie maybe they could have gotten away with, but just does not work. It looks so bad. It would
Yeah.
have looked better if it had been a flat texture, honestly. And the lighting is bad. It's so flat.
Yeah.
And I get
Yeah.
they're working with fewer resources, fewer people are working with it. And this isn't these aren't the people who have been working on these movies. This is a new studio coming in and trying to do
Mm-hmm.
what the old movies had done.
Yeah.
But
Like
it
this.
just
This
don't
is.
make it at that point.
Yeah. It's really it's the problem that I have. Again, I mentioned this before. It's the problem that I have with the many DreamWorks shows and straight to streaming films is that
Yeah.
again all the quality is a downgrade, and maybe the stories are worth it for some people, and some people do like these shows, but it's just it doesn't feel right. I mentioned this earlier, but like the most recent adaptation of Ponies is like this, where they had a film that was really well done with high quality to it, and then the TV show was very noticeable. They didn't have the same of everything, and so that kind of like turned a lot of people off from the series. So, yeah, it's it's a reoccurring issue,
Yeah.
you know.
You know what would have been nice? Down like intentionally make the visuals more cartoony so you don't have to deal with the fur
Sure.
and put that effort into the backgrounds. Like I'm thinking of I can't think of an exact example of this, but you know that thing where they'll have like the fur just kind of looks plasticky
Mm. Yeah.
and it's just like very simplified, very cartoony. They aren't even trying to do the fur. It's just like they're evoking the style of fur, but it's just like a big block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of an example, but I have an image in my head that is very clear, but I can't think of an example specifically.
No, I know what you're talking about. I've seen that before and stuff.
Just like very simplified, very like toyetic,
Mm-hmm.
something that looks a bit like a toy.
Yeah. I mean, Barbie Life in the Dream House. That one specifically, they're all designed to look like toys. So, I guess
Yeah,
there's that.
I'm. Yeah, what am I even thinking? Because that has more like plastic looking fur on the animal characters. I'm specifically thinking of like a mammoth with like yeah I can't even describe it. I have a very clear image in my head, but I can't
I
think
mean,
of the words to.
any Clone Wars thing
Clone
instead
Wars.
of
That's yes, that
yeah,
is exactly what it
instead
does.
of like doing individual hairs, they'll have that plastic looking thing where it's like, okay, our hair, let it be cubes and spikes and stuff, and just
Yeah,
have the illusion of like texture through the lines of the painting. And I like that style. Yeah, you're right. That would probably, it honestly still be really weird. You'd be like, oh,
yeah,
okay, that's different, but at least you can separate the two by stylization, and you're not constantly
yeah.
comparing the quality. So yeah.
And then maybe you have a little bit more money to get good textures for
I mean,
anything. Uh,
yeah. I mean, if they want to put the money into it, who knows
yeah,
what was going on.
yeah. Just something that is more simplified because they're clearly trying to evoke the movies with the style here.
Mm-hmm.
If it had been a little bit more simplified, a little bit more cartoony, I think the big thing for me though, beyond just that, is the character movements are not dynamic.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Like especially Buck, who in the previous movies, especially in Dawn of the Dinosaurs, was very expressive and moved in surprising ways.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's just he's there. He stands around and walks in a relatively normal and runs in a relatively normal way. Yeah, it's a disappointing
Mm-hmm.
direction to take things. Especially, yeah, I guess we can talk about Scrat Tails in a bit
Yeah.
once we get through everything else. But yeah, I gave the animation. I'm gonna, yeah, I'll stick with a 2 because I do know that there are limitations on things,
Mm-hmm.
but this
Yeah.
does not look good in the slightest.
I gave it a 1.5. Yeah, it's just this. I know the standards are different, but like when I feel like the first Ice Age works better than this, given that they had less to work with their visuals, it's like, yeah,
Yeah, and I actually just changed my mind. I am gonna drop my score to a 1.5.
okay.
But yeah, voice acting.
Voice acting, no, everybody's doing their job. The issue is that everybody just has to do impressions, which
Yeah,
is a really rough thing to do. And so nobody sounds right. Everybody sounds so off. But
yeah. I think Dominique Jennings as Ellie is doing a very good job, and maybe that's because it's Queen Latifah in the other ones, right?
yes.
She's doing more of a standard voice than like John Leguizamo as Sid. So there's less of an impression of a like voice that isn't even the person's natural voice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then yeah, Skylar Stone as Diego. Maybe it's just that he doesn't have many lines. And again, even like
Yeah. I mean there's also like the line readings are just nowhere
yeah,
near how those people would sound. Like Diego, a lot of his lines I'm like, I don't think that Dennis Leary
Dennis Leary. Yeah,
would say it like that. And so that's part of the reason why things sound off. Um
yeah,
I think that for Crash and Eddie, Vincent Tong and Aaron Harris did a fantastic job because they were almost sound exactly the same.
okay. I was annoyed with their performances, which is how I feel. Not their performances, with their characters.
Yeah,
So I wasn't super paying attention to the impressions. I've never enjoyed these characters.
no.
So at most, I tolerated them the first time they showed up, and then I've felt they aren't incredibly interesting. So yeah, I will take your word for it that they are doing a good job of evoking the characters.
Yeah, Vincent Tong is someone I think we've seen before on other Barbie or
Yeah, we've
Monster
seen a
High
couple of
projects.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um Jake Green as Sid, he probably has the worst job of the entire cast of trying to
Yeah.
do John Leguizamo's voice
Yeah.
as Sid.
Yeah.
And it's such a specific voice that clearly John Leguizamo like developed to work with his own skills. So
Hmm.
bringing someone else and having them try and do it was never going to work. And yeah, it doesn't work. The Again, I don't want to blame the actor because it is just having to do an impression.
Yeah. And of
And
course, Simon
I think
Pegg.
yeah. Yeah, I feel kind of bad that he's in this. And he has like if the lines he were delivering were at least good, but there's nothing for him here.
Hmm.
He just shows up and does his accent. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think the performance that comes off the best in this whole thing is Justina Mikado as Z, just because she's an original character,
Hmm.
so she isn't having to conform her performance. Like even Utkarsh Ab, Abudkar as
Hmm.
Orson, he is giving like a fine performance, but I mean the character isn't interesting to start with. And then the entire time I'm watching it, I was thinking, what if someone more like oh, I'm blanking on his name now.
What do you do?
Oh, I'm Wallace Shawn. If Wallace Shawn had been in this role, and there are like some Wallace Shawn aspects to his performance here. Like that's who you need for this role.
Hmm.
Someone who, when he says his brain is so big, like just his voice quality adds a little bit of a disconnect there.
Hmm. Yeah. No. This. Yeah. This one was kind of the one. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's. I guess the word I'm looking for it's uncanny valley. Just listening to this film, because everybody just sounds so off
Yeah.
slightly. I mean, once we get like into the Hollow Earth, where it's mainly just Simon Pegg and the you're just limiting to Crash and Eddie, which sound fine. It's like okay, the problem isn't there, but whenever all the other characters are on screen, it's like yeah, none of that quite works.
Yeah. I wonder, so I'm not super familiar with voice acting for pre-existing roles. I do wonder if they had let the actors be a little bit more of their own, like they have their own interpretations, if that might have worked a little better.
Yeah, it also depends on what the vocal direction is,
Yeah.
because sometimes they'll do that and what the standard is, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I gave the voice acting a 2.5 out of 5. That's being generous and grading on a curve just because I don't think it's the actor's fault. I think it is they're being asked to do something that is kind of
Yeah,
impossible.
I'm gonna be a little bit more fair and give them a 2.8. Honestly, I probably should just give them a free, but 2.8, that's where I'm standing. Sound, I got nothing on sound. Sound is sound.
Yeah, I was paying attention to the music, and the music was just pretty generic. There were a couple of more interesting flourishes here or there, but yeah, I give the music a 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I didn't care overall, so I just give it a 3, just to give it a 3. Yeah, which leaves me with a total score of 9.3, which is a 37.20% or 1.86 5-star rating.
Yep, and I gave this a 9 out of 25, which is a 36% or a 1.8. Let me double check, because I believe this is our lowest rated thing
Mm,
we have ever covered.
I don't know. I might have rated it something lower than this, but
You might have yourself, yeah. Oh no, you haven't. Beverly Hills Chihuahua, you gave a 2.6 out of 5.
to be honest, I
This
think
is
I'd rather
lower.
watch that than this. So
uh,
that is true.
yeah, the lowest previous had been the School for Good and Evil, which you weren't on that episode.
Wow.
But yeah, new lowest scoring movie covered by the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we're grading things on a different curve for each
Yeah,
series
yeah.
that we do, so not that that means much. Scrat Tales. Let's briefly talk about Scrat Tales
Yeah.
if we want to.
Actually, here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a break and go through and calculate those scores, and then we will reveal them on our rankings episode. You can see
Yes.
what scores we gave Scrat Tales. So tune in
Yes.
next week for that
Yes.
reveal.
Yes. Well, with that, thank you everyone for listening, and make sure to follow us on social media. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Twitter and Serialized, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go join our Patreon at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast. We'll be back next week to reveal our rankings of the Ice Age films. And until then, remember to use your spleens. You really need that.
Bye, Barbie.
Ah!